Chapter 2 The Magic Paintbrush. When Amy's parents first told her they were planning a week-long cruise to the Arctic Circle, she'd thought they were joking. Didn't people take cruises to the Bahamas or Hawaii? To places with sun-soaked beaches and brightly colored drinks? Instead, her parents wanted polar bears and ice, and they wanted to go without Amy. It was an anniversary trip celebrating 15 years of marriage. Amy wasn't even upset they were going without her. She just wished they hadn't chosen her one and only seventh grade spring break to do it, which meant she'd spend the week with her grandma. "Amy," Mom called. Amy cringed. She was lounging on the roof outside her bedroom window, her favorite spot to daydream, and someplace she wasn't technically allowed to go. She scrambled inside just in time to see Mom cross her arms. "Amy, I've told you a million times you can't sit out there. You'll roll off and break your legs. If you're not careful—" "I am careful," Amy said. "I'm the most careful person I know." "You're careful about some things, I'll give you that. But you are not careful about the roof. If you were, you wouldn't go out there at all." She held up a finger when Amy started to protest. "We're not getting into it now. Are you finished packing?" "Yes," Amy mumbled. "You have your pajamas? And your toothbrush?" "Yes." "What about your phone charger? Grandma doesn't have a fancy phone like yours." "I packed it, Mom." All right, all right." Mom lugged her own suitcase toward the stairs. "Remember, you have Uncle Jim's number in your contacts. If you can't reach us during the trip and anything happens to you or Grandma—" Amy huffed. "What's going to happen? We're not the ones heading into polar bear territory." Mom laughed. "Oh, cheer up, Amy. We're not sending you to work in the salt mines. You and Grandma are going to have a great time." Amy hoped her expression looked suitably unconvinced. Her suggestion that she stay home alone this week had been shot down with a "Don't be silly, dear," which wasn't fair, because Amy wasn't being silly at all. She knew how to make peanut butter noodles and sausage fried rice and 3 different kinds of grilled cheese. She'd never opened the door for strangers, and there was a convenience store half a mile down the road if she needed anything. "You know," Mom said, "Grandma is a wonderful painter. I told you she used to work in antiquities, right? Maybe you can show her your doodles. See what she thinks." "They're not doodles," Amy thought. "I don't think we like the same kind of art," she said instead. She didn't expect an old lady to appreciate the artists she followed, with their bold, bright styles. Even her parents, studying the prints she hung up in her bedroom, could only remark that they were unique and interesting. "Well, don't write her off just yet." Mom shooed Amy toward the front door. "She wants to get to know you better. She moved all the way from San Francisco to be closer to us." If she moved all the way from San Francisco, why couldn't she move a little farther and find a place in Port Jefferson? Why Flushing? Mom sighed. It was the sort of sigh that Amy knew she wasn't going to get a satisfactory answer. "Grab your stuff, Amy. Into the car you go." The roads thronged with honking cars and jittery passengers eager for vacation. Most of the local schools had spring break this week, which meant thousands of people heading off for idyllic beaches or adrenaline-filled adventures, or, in the case of Amy's parents, exciting getaways to the Arctic Circle with no tag-along kids allowed. It took them nearly 2 hours to reach an old brick building on the edge of Flushing's Chinatown. Her parents had helped Grandma move in a week or two ago, but Amy had been busy with a group project, so this was her first time seeing the apartment. The ground floor was a hole-in-the-wall restaurant advertising noodles and Hainan chicken and a bunch of other stuff in Chinese that Amy couldn't read. Grandma lived on the second floor. Down the street, elderly men sat on little plastic chairs, shuffling through Chinese newspapers and smoking. Across the road, a young woman played with a fat-cheeked toddler. Mom's dad had died long ago, so Grandma lived alone. Until now, she'd rented an apartment in San Francisco, which Amy hadn't visited in years. They'd interacted solely through Christmas cards and awkward video chat hellos. "Can I visit Diego at least?" Amy asked, as she and Mom clambered out of the car. "If his uncle's okay with it, but don't spend all your time over there, honey. This is your chance to get to know Grandma. Oh, and I think she'd really like it if you called her Lao Lao." Lao Lao was a Mandarin word for your maternal grandmother. Amy always felt awkward saying anything in Mandarin. Her accent wasn't very good, and though she understood Mandarin well enough, she often couldn't remember the right words when she attempted to speak. But her parents urged her to make an effort, especially around her older relatives. "All right," she said. "Promise me you're going to try this week with Lao Lao, okay? I'm serious. Don't hide in your room the whole time." Mom squeezed her shoulder. She looked sort of anxious. "Amy." Beneath all her frustration about spring break, Amy did want her parents to have a nice cruise. They'd been jabbering about it for weeks. "I promise," she said, and meant it. Mom had bought a bag of oranges for Grandma, Lao Lao, and 2 jars of vitamins. They never visited anyone without gifts. Amy shuffled upstairs, listening to people shout and laugh in the restaurant kitchen. She pinned on a smile just as Dad rang the doorbell.